Hey guys, it's Benzie, and I am here with my friend Clara, and we've hit the 2-week mark on the Uberman sleep schedule, sort of. So, uh, after the first week, we did decide to be a little bit flexible and add a 7th nap, because we noticed there was like one specific area for each of us that we were extra tired.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. So I do feel like the moment we added the 7th nap, it did spiral us into a little bit of a flexibility spiral, I guess is what I would call it. So I feel like not having to follow these like strict hard rules made us be okay making compromises in other areas. So at this point, there have been like quite a few oversleeps, even for like a few hours at a time. For me, I've only had one multi-hour oversleep, and mostly they've just been like in a 10-minute span. And Clara has had. How many? You have it in your journal, right?
Yeah, I've been writing it all down, but I've been writing other stuff down too, so I would rather pull out the data, but glancing over it, I think I had one, the most heinous one was like a 4-hour sleep instead of a 20-minute sleep, and then I think there was another one that was maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then all the other ones were like an hour or less,
Okay.
and the majority were like 10-minute sleeps or like micro sleeps.
Yeah.
But I like recorded everything, so
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely, I mean, I guess I don't know if you're writing things down, but
I'm like doing general journaling, but it doesn't include stuff like that.
Yeah.
So more of feelings based journaling.
You're like a forest creature. I'm the robot.
That's so I'd say right now, my schedule actually looks closer to like Spamail, I think it's called, which
I'm so glad you said it.
which essentially is taking a 20-minute nap whenever you want to take a nap.
You should explain the name. Spamail stands for sleep polyphasically as much as you like.
Oh,
Spamail.
I couldn't remember that, so thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. I like the name. I like acronyms. I'm a robot.
I'm so glad you're a robot.
Every time I say, "Oh yeah, you're doing Spamail," you're like, "I hate the name. It's so gross."
I do not like the name. And Clara has accidentally been falling into core sleeps, so is going to now adopt a core sleep.
Yeah, I would say that like just based on my notes and my observations of like how I'm feeling generally, I have the most trouble in my like. I mean, usually the day is pretty solid.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, daytime is great no matter how much I've slept or when. With naps every 4 hours, and then around 11 p.m. I start to feel yawny, but I manage it until my 11:30 nap, and then I wake up from that nap and don't feel refreshed, and then my 4 o'clock or 3:30 nap is the same. I like, I'm groggy and I wish there was more, and then if I make it to the 7:30 nap, then it's like a feat, and then usually after the 7:30 nap, I start to feel a little bit better. But oftentimes that sort of 8-hour period has included mistakes, micro sleeps, Benzie having to like literally lift my body up so that I will. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Or I guess I'm very evolved, and my body was very insistent on finding a way for me to get to sleep. But so that was a problem area for me, but looking at how my naps felt the rest of the time, as well as during those periods of time, when I had an oversleep of an hour or so,
you felt better.
I felt better. Yeah, even looking at my notes, because I'm taking notes on the quality of my 20-minute sleeps, my successful Uberman sleeps too, and I've had sleeps that were in the day following an oversleep of about an hour or so, where I wrote down like, I slept for 8 minutes and thought I overslept by 40.
Yeah.
And then went back to sleep for the last 12 and felt like I'd gotten 6 more hours. And like that was a really good nap.
Yeah.
And I'm more likely to have sort of I don't know, unsatisfying naps in the couple of days where I'm like succeeding at the actual schedule. This is what I've noticed, but.
And, to me, I do have, like, a level of disappointment because I do think if we had been more strict and stuck to the Uberman for the full 3 weeks, we would have acclimated to the, like, euphoric point, just from my past experiences. But I do think this is, like, totally reasonable, especially for Clara, because I will be leaving in
a few days.
Yeah. So, I won't be here to, like, help be awake, like, in a physical presence. Like, I heard you talk to someone else about maybe I would call you and stuff.
Yeah. And you had said, before I said that on the phone, you had said, like, I want you to think about if there's any way I can support you from afar. So I hadn't, like, asked you that specifically, but.
Yeah. And I do want to do that for you.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, I think it's really important successfully doing the Uberman forever is absolutely not my like standard or goal or anything like that. I think starting with the like severe schedule of the Uberman is a great way to move into whatever polyphasic sleep schedule you want to go into, because after you've done this, like, going to Everyman is like taking a slice of cake out of a cake.
Well, that is just not a saying yet, but. Wait, do you mean piece of cake? That's a saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wow, brand new phrase, but not quite.
Yeah, so I think now when you go to Everyman, there'll be no adoption.
Yeah,
essentially.
I feel like looking at my sleep, I mean, and granted, like, everybody's different. Like, I don't know. Maybe there are people who would have a harder time doing it this way than I have, or would be better off going the reverse. I don't know. But for me, like, my sort of sleep history of the last, of, like, my life and also the last few months is that I had terrible sleep and had some days where I would sleep, like, all day long and some days where I wouldn't sleep at all. And I had a full, like, sleep reversal. So my monophasic sleep, like, times got later and later and later until I was straight up nocturnal, and then later and later again, and I came all the way back around. And so I'm like, and also I'm not working because of the pandemic, and I don't have roommates except for right now, and I just have, like, no structure in my life at all. And it's been bad for my mental health. And so I feel like if I had started with, like, a really flexible everyman schedule, number one, I just wouldn't have done it.
It's not exciting.
Yeah, it's not exciting. It's not, there's like, it's like a long push, and I probably wouldn't have, like, felt any differences or been, or really been eager about it.
Yeah.
I, like, actually wanted to disrupt my, like, mental state around sleep more so than actually attaining the Uberman sleep schedule. So I feel like I did not make the wrong choice at all. Especially because another problem with my sleep, and part of the reason I think that it always shifted later and later once I stopped having to go to work because of the pandemic, was that I have trouble falling asleep at night quickly. And so I would go to bed the same time I went to bed the night before, and I would lie in bed awake for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so my sleep, of course, was pushing later and later, because in order to get enough sleep, I'd have to sleep later and later, and then I would stay awake even later. It just was like a whole slippery slope. And now I am successfully falling asleep in less than 20 minutes, and then getting sleep in 20-minute increments. I'm just like, yeah, I'm chuffed.
Yeah. And I've said probably multiple times on here that a lifelong benefit I've gotten from my previous times in the Uberman sleep schedule is I'm a quick sleeper. And I have lots of people who are jealous about it, so. But yeah, so I do think adaption-wise, like, start with the hardest thing, and especially if you
want.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, everybody can do what they want sleep-wise. I have no, like, moral judgment on your sleep patterns. And we're super lucky that we had each other. I do think it's super difficult alone, and maybe not even possible for a lot of people, but
although we know, I mean, Grayson basically did it alone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Grayson's a weird...
Yeah.
what humans have I collected?
I've been going back and forth. We actually recorded a cool interview with Grayson, but the internet was so slow and it's like very choppy.
Oh.
So I've been going back and forth on like it's really low quality on whether it's worthwhile to upload or not. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. What was I gonna say? Oh, and for me, the spamail. God,
Girl.
quit it.
Say it slowly.
Spamail. Okay. Now it sounds like spam.
The beginning
mail.
is spam. Have you ever had spam?
No, I'm anti-spam. I have a moral judgment against spam.
Oh, because you don't eat pork.
That's
I'm actually not positive that it is pork.
Yeah,
it's pork, right?
Legally mystery meat. Like they don't have to.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That sounds fake. That doesn't sound like a true fact.
Okay,
I'm gonna Google it.
Double check on it, but I am almost positive that's true. Oh, so for me, I do think when I go home, I actually will be on the Uberman or a 7-nap Uberman. The reason I'm doing spamail here is I find it like really difficult to occupy myself all the time. And also I think being in like an unfamiliar space where I have less control than at my home, I have been using naps as like a little bit of like a stress reliever or like escaper or like reset button. Like if I am feeling stressed out, I can go take the nap, and then when I get up, often I'm like
reset. Yeah.
Exactly. So that has been useful to me, but I do desire the Uberman schedule because that is what I have liked in the past. But wouldn't be upset if I ended up continuing doing spamail and having a few extra naps here and there. So
yeah, it's made out of pork. Just so you know.
Okay. Gross.
Which you don't eat, so like
Yeah.
obviously don't eat spam. But yeah. What was I saying about? I was gonna say something about sleep too, but I couldn't let the spam go. Oh well.
Yeah. And this might, some people might disagree with this, but I do think when people are interested in polyphasic sleep, they are most interested in Uberman. So probably even if I went up to like, if I was doing spamail and getting 8 naps a night, I would still title my videos Uberman sleep schedule, because I don't know anybody who's Googling spamail. Like,
that's fair.
Like, I'm going to be realistic about the SEO of, like, the reach of my videos.
I do think that, I believe there's, like, an Uberman 7 and an Uberman 8, where you take equidistant, like, 7 equidistant and 8 equidistant naps. I don't know if that, like, I mean, I'm just saying it's, like, not as wrong, technically, as it may feel, but, yeah.
And also, my like feelings on this, I definitely won't switch to 7 or 8 equidistant naps because that sees like way too crazy to keep up with, and like not even desirable.
Where is the line? That feels totally arbitrary to me. Like we found Benzie's line. It's here. 7 naps, sure, but not equidistant. Ugh.
And my thought is like there's not very many people doing this sleep schedule, so I can like claim it. Like, I'm fine reclaiming it to be whatever works for me. Oh my gosh, my girl.
Polyphasic sleep schedule descriptionism.
Yeah, like...
I'm not gonna police that.
And some people might, and that's fine. Sorry, Miguel, I didn't mean to blow on you. Your fro just might melt.
This is so funny to me.
Yeah, so, but clearly you can see it's been 2 weeks. The amount of sleep we've gotten is not enough, according to, like, basic science.
So it's, like, still proof positive of the concept that, like, I mean, today I had a video call with someone and they were like, you look well rested.
Yeah.
And, like, I've still gotten, well, I should do the math, but probably, like, 20 or 30% of the sleep that I'm used to for consistently for the last 2 weeks.
And we've actually been talking to our therapists. So I think those are people specifically who would be like
pay attention to our well-being and our state of mind.
And call us out if we were like not cognitively functional.
Oh, and it was fun. I had a conversation with my mom the other day where she was asking about my like mental acuity or whatever, and I was like, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm 100%, but when was I ever really 100%? Like, you know, I'm not keeping track. I'm not solving math problems at 11 p.m. either. But I forget what the topic of conversation was, but I launched into some sort of like analogy that was kind of complicated, and she was like, "Oh, you lost me." And so I feel like if I can talk about anything that will confuse like a well-rested monophasic sleeper, then I'm like, that's like as far as I don't know. I feel pretty good about that.
And you're very good at that.
And my mom is really smart, so.
Well, I have cat fur all in my mouth.
That's
why,
tough.
Miguel.
Hey. It was cat fur or spam.
Gross. Bar actually taught me this trick when I get his hairs in my mouth. That, like, it's much harder to, like, reach in and grab a hair, but if you just, like, lick a surface, like, you could lick the back of your hand or your shirt or something, it will actually, like, more likely
pull it
get
off.
Yeah. So, hot tips if you have hair in your mouth.
I just chew and swallow them.
Fun.
That was a joke. This is my nightmare. Sleep schedules.
Yeah, so overall, 2 weeks, feeling great, excited to continue, and totally cool if other people want to call this a failure, because I'm getting what I want out of it.
Oh, yeah, I find that so interesting. So some of the stuff that we've seen on the internet, you know, people are like, it seems like when people have a failed attempt, they either get really upset or they, like, never post again. And I feel like that's such an interesting and surprising and kind of masculine dichotomy. Like, no offense, men. But
High
like,
offense, men.
Lots of offense. I don't know. But, like, I feel like, number one, I went into this knowing that failure was an option. Like, of course, anything I attempt, I might not succeed. That is, like, an obvious truth of the universe. But also, I feel like I don't have my ego tied up in doing this. So it's not like my identity is at stake if I don't succeed. And I think that that's sort of what I've been perceiving in some of the people who sort of rage quit when they fail.
Yeah.
Like the more extreme sleep schedules. Because I feel like whatever is my result, that's like an answer that I was seeking all along.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is just like not offensive to me if I don't end up like climbing the highest mountain in polyphasic sleep.
I also wonder if our relationship styles in theory have to do with this, because I'd say, like, we rarely define success as, like, lifelong implementation of something.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, because, like, even our relationships, like, it is not a failure if a relationship ends either. Yeah. And that is, like, a deep belief in society. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, so I think things not being forever is not a failure to us, and I think to a lot of people that's hard to get over. So.
I will say that I've been considering whether our relationship styles have also impacted our ability to stick with it, though, because we're so, like, because I care so much about autonomy that, like, when we were both really sleepy and it was like, Benzie, you are falling asleep, and you were like, well, I really want to. I'm like, well, if you really want to, you can. Like, and maybe what you would have wanted me to do would be, like, force you to stay awake. And we just, like, maybe we didn't talk enough about, like, how much of my, like, in the moment autonomy do you want to, like, do you want to be responsible for? And I just, I wonder.
And that's definitely led to some of your, like, multi-hour oversleeps Clara will argue with me on why she's allowed to sleep, and even though I'll disagree with her argument, I am like, I just can't deal with this for that long.
I'm like, I mean,
and Clara is a master arguer.
I'm made for it.
But, so...
And, like, sleepy Clara is probably, like, not reasonable, but doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Which maybe awake Clara is, too. Although that's a pretty reasonable thing to allow, so... Actually, I'm very reasonable, never mind.
But yeah, like, specifically last night was a pretty long oversleep, right? That was the longest one.
Oh my gosh, how long ago was last night? Let me check my notes.
Okay.
I, like, don't remember the difference between last night and the day before.
But I remember saying to you multiple times, like, Clara, are you awake? Because Clara does this thing when she, like, slowly closes her eyes. And, which I'm sure I do, too. But, and then you'd be like, yeah, I'm awake. And you, like, seemed annoyed that I kept asking you if you were awake.
Uh-huh.
And clearly you were falling asleep, but you were acting like I was being a bitch.
So, so this morning I fell asleep on the couch and I wrote probably 7:15 to 10:30ish. So that is not my longest oversleep. Because there was one that was about 4 hours.
What did you have before that?
What do you mean? Like sleep-wise? I had my 4:50 nap, and then fell asleep around 7:15 until 10:30. That's what I wrote anyway.
Okay. Yeah. But you didn't write any activities that you did in between there?
So I wrote a postcard after that nap. It says not off, tried to stay awake. So I remember
you were falling asleep while you were writing the postcard.
I remember that. Oh my gosh, it was really hard writing that postcard. Oh, I'll tell you. I believe I was trying to distract myself by looking on my phone.
Yeah.
I should have done yoga. That's what I usually do in that block of time, but I just like didn't feel like doing it.
Because I felt like you slept longer than that.
Oh no, you know what? I did do yoga.
Two of them.
The earlier block, yeah. So sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did have a oversleep on my 2:10 nap. My 2:10 nap went until 2:45.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, so I wonder if part of the reason you feel like that was longer is because you had a nap in that time.
That's true. Yeah. That's possible. Yeah, I remember I was just like, even when I came out, you know, and you were still sleeping, I knew I could wake you up, and I was like, not gonna deal with it. You know.
Well, now I want my money back.
Here's your $0.
Thank you. Symbolically, I wanted it.
One thing that I find exciting is some of our friends who have interacted with us, even in person, distanced, just to be clear.
You virtue signal.
Yeah. Virtually virtue signal.
Obviously distanced because I'm immunocompromised.
Yes.
Yeah.
What am I saying?
Like and subscribe.
Have seen us and have expressed interest in doing the schedule. So I feel like if we seemed like weak and horrible and like miserable, that people wouldn't also be excited to get what we're getting. And one of the reasons I
try to keep the
I
butthole
don't
off
want buttholes
camera.
on camera. No buttholes on my channel. Oh, sorry, Miguel. Except for I guess I made my symbol a butthole.
No buttholes on my camera, except all day, every day. That's it. You should explain why the symbol is a butthole, though. Did you in a different video? I don't know.
No, I just was inspired by Community, the butthole flag, and was like, oh, it's 6 equidistant spaces. It's just like the Uberman sleep schedule.
You know what? I feel like that's a perfect symbol for Uberman sleep schedule, though, in addition, because that felt like a great idea to you when you were sleep deprived.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah. What were we talking about before Miguel's butt?
Oh, I did want to, I don't know how I was going to segue to it or anything, but...
That's a pretty good one. Like shoulder movements. It's like a lot.
But to me, one of the reasons the Uberman is more valuable to me than the Everyman, because I have, when I had to quit the Uberman, gone to Everyman for a while, you know, is even though it's only like a couple extra hours of awake time, there is this feeling of like, I have overcome sleep. I am a god. That you get on Uberman, and Everyman just feels like you're just a person who goes to sleep. To me. That's my experience. So I want to feel like a god. Like, not gonna lie. Benzathesius, that's my channel name.
Which is like a god reference? I don't know a lot about
that's
god.
my goddess name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Duh.
But you want to be like a new god. It's not like obvious that Benzathesius is like...
I feel like it sounds like a goddess name.
I don't spend a ton of time thinking about...
You know what?
Made up gods.
I'm not made up. I'm made up of matter.
I don't know how to back out of that.
I'm real.
I mean, yeah, you're real. Okay, maybe I'm being a little pedantic, and maybe you need to define what a god is first before I can like co-sign all of it. But yeah, I think that wanting that feeling of conquering sleep is an important point because I think an important thing that people, I don't know, the imaginary people in my mind that I'm imagining saying these arguments, I worry that people aren't covering sort of all of the reasons. I think there are a lot of motivations for wanting to do the Uberman sleep schedule or polyphasic sleep in general, and it's not all efficiency and productivity. I feel like that's a really like capitalist argument for doing it, and that's just like not necessarily.
Yeah, if like by efficiency you mean like more time to snuggle with my friends, like.
Yeah, or like I went into it fully acknowledging that I'm like probably not going to get more stuff done with the more time. Like I'm probably going to watch more TV. I really like TV. That's, you know, and like my main motivations, well, I wrote down like 12. I mean, there are a lot, but one piece was I just wanted more structure in my life for the pandemic. And that like, you know, isn't really possible with the Everman schedule because isn't possible based on my own like knowledge of how my brain works, because I think if I had the wiggle room, I would take it, which we found to be true anyway. But what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like wanting a structure is like irrelevant for how much time I'm adding to my day. Because mostly what I've been feeling in the pandemic is that time is like an endless wasteland and it's meaningless and it doesn't matter what I do or when. Whereas now I'm like, oh, I need to keep myself awake during these hours. So I like started exercising, you know, or I'm like, oh, I'm thinking really hard about like, okay, I need to make sure I'm eating enough because my day is all weird now. So when am I eating my meals? I'm actually like better at eating, I'm better at drinking water, I'm better at exercising now on the Uberman or Uberman-ish schedule than I was before on a monophasic schedule. Because I just was having like a pandemic brain glitch.
And I think like the value of resetting your mind and your day every 4 hours is huge. It really does feel like I'm waking up. And if I like felt bad before, like I usually feel different, you know? It's very, for me, like one of the weirdest things is, this mostly happens when we're hanging out with other people, is when I take a nap and the people are still there. And it's like, oh, this is definitely the same day. Because it feels like so much time has passed.
I agree that the reset aspect of all of the naps is really cool. And for the first, like, it feels like for the first month, but obviously it's only been 2 weeks. But for the first maybe like week or so, I was, before every nap, I was lying down and setting my alarm and then thinking consciously, like in full sentences, what are the reasons I'm doing this? And then after a while, I was just going through my like 5 values that I ended up with the card sort, because I had said so many times in my mind, like, here's how this value contributes to my desire to do this. Here's how this value contributes to my desire to do this. And I feel like I'm really excited to, probably after you're gone, just because this has been a whole experience. But I think after you're gone, I'm going to use the regular naps as an excuse to like work on my brain and my thoughts. Like if I want to start a new habit, or like, I mean, specifically brain habits, like physical habits are kind of different, but it got to the point where every time I laid down, I got to think about like who I am as a person and what I want out of myself and my life. And that made me feel way more focused and positive and optimistic than I had in months during the pandemic. And I'm interested in other ways that I can tie sort of mental habits to the naps. And see how that benefits me.
Another thing I'm really excited about is once I feel confident in my awakeness during the awake cycles, is meditating again. I have not been meditating.
Same.
I miss it. And yeah, I'm just like, I really look forward to that experience, and I wonder if it will be different.
Well, it probably will be different because it's never the same.
It's true. It's like a trip. Oh, Clara, surprise. Surprise. I got some messages on Instagram. My Instagram is Benzie Now for my like main feed and Benzathesius for my art feed.
Okay. Okay, surprise me.
Okay, I got some messages on my Instagram from somebody who says they've been watching our videos and started the Uberman sleep schedule and would be into Zooming with us and doing an interview
Oh,
for the
fun.
channel. Would you want to do that?
Why would I say no to that?
I don't know.
I literally cried the other day because I'm not getting to talk to enough strangers. So there's no planet where I would say no to that.
And since then, I've integrated some more strangers into the talking circle. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for that. So you can look forward to that video unless the footage is really choppy again, and then you can not look forward to the video.
Or unless we die from foolishly trying the Uberman sleep schedule first.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just like, you know,
we could be dead. Another thing, one thing I think I want to do going forward is I think like daily updates aren't going to be the most valuable thing I can provide. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more like structured, like topic focused videos around the sleep schedule. So we will see how that goes. Anyways,
it probably sans me since you're leaving my life.
But some with you.
Like over Zoom or whatever.
Over Zoom, and we still have some time left together.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, similarly to so far, if you facilitate it, I will do it.
Cool. Yeah, so very exciting. If you want to make sure you get updates on that, make sure you subscribe.
Oh my god. The YouTube voice is getting worse. What was that?
Because now...
Subscribe!
Well, because now I'm just going over the top because I know it makes you laugh.
No, that's not what I want.
But it's so fun.
Alright, carry on.
Oh, wait, before I finish the video, I would love for you to read some of the funny things that I've said to you.
Oh my god. Okay.
So, what has happened because I'm doing the spamail is I made an intention to never take 2 naps less than 90 minutes apart from each other, but have been sometimes doing that. And it seems like when I take the naps close together, my memory of the time in between them disappears. So Clara has some, like, weird, sleepy things that I have said.
Yeah, okay, so there's one that I didn't write down. I was looking for it, but I think I remember it now. Is you came out of the bedroom with your phone still going off in your hand, and you looked like a zombie, and you walked out, and you were looking at my bookcase, and you were just, like you would look around, and you'd be like the bookcase had answers for you, and I was like, Benzie? Are you okay? And you were like, what do I do now? And I was like, well, you could turn off your phone, and you, like, look down, and it's, like, beeping the whole time. You look down, and you're like, oh. It's just, I don't know, it's really adorable. But then this morning, I have, you woke up, okay, so this was, I'm trying to remember, this was our like, we have our naps next to each other for most of the day, but then we're sort of offset in the mornings, and it was one of those naps that you were taking. No. You know what it was? I had taken a nap, and then it was your nap, and then you were doing an extra nap.
Oh, okay.
And I believe it was the one where you were like, I'm going to take another nap, and I was like, are you sure you want to? Because it hasn't been 90 minutes, and you were like, when did I say that? And I was like, I mean, I think you said that, but
I
whatever.
definitely did.
You definitely did. I tried to remind you, but you were going to... So, like, it's not just me.
I know.
It's like... Anyway, you took your second nap in, I think, 20 minutes after your first nap. And then when you woke up, you came out and you said, you were in the kitchen and you were like, how was your nap? And I hadn't napped in like 3 hours and you had napped twice. And I said, I didn't take one. How was yours? And you were like, I know you are, but what am I? Which is really cute. Yeah, it was really fun.
I will say, I do think the 90 minutes thing is a good idea. And
Which 90? Oh, 90 minutes apart for extra naps?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But I do think even if I didn't do the 90 minutes, it has been really important to me that I am, like, getting up and, like, doing, like, I'm being awake for at least a minute before I go take another nap instead of laying in bed and being like, oh, 20 extra minutes and falling back asleep.
Yeah, because if I have that ability, I will do that over and over again for 20 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not 20, but...
Yeah, I do think, like, at least getting up and walking around and, like, making the active decision to take another nap is better than allowing yourself to just push
Yeah.
the time.
I don't know. I think that I personally would not choose to do like extra naps as needed in any attempt of Uberman or similar because I don't trust my decision making when I want extra naps, and you're literally creating an opportunity to like allow your sleepy decision making to tell you when to take naps.
That is true.
So I personally prefer what I chose classically, but what I ended up doing is adding a 7th nap and writing like new times for it, and having those naps they're like equidistant within my 8-hour like problem period, and then the rest of the day they're the same.
Yeah, and I definitely think somebody transitioning, that is the better decision. And I do think I might be a little like,
yeah, I know what you're saying,
because
you've done it before.
I've done it before. I know I'm capable of it. So yeah, I maybe feel like a little bit overconfident in my ability, or
maybe not overconfident,
or rightfully confident. Yeah. So
I definitely don't think what you have chosen to do would work for me. I think it would have been like craziness.
Yeah.
Which like this has been kind of craziness a little bit.
Kind of craziness.
Not a lot. You know, every time I make a mistake or like oversleep or whatever, I wake up and I just am like, oh, I ruined everything. And it takes me maybe like half an hour to get to the point of like, I didn't ruin anything.
Yeah.
Nothing has gone wrong. Like this was always part of my plan, that like I might not be able to do this perfectly, and that's okay. And I'm still gaining a lot from this experience and learning a ton about like, I mean, God, even if I go back to monophasic sleep, I still am learning a ton about like what of my beliefs about sleep were just superstitions, and what of my experiences with my body were things that I should be listening to. Like, I feel like in monophasic sleep, I ignored how my body felt and only used the clock to decide when to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that is like a really bad system, I think now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really sad. I feel like the videos are just going to be way like less valuable without us talking to each other.
Well, then you could just call me.
Yeah.
Just facilitate just do the work. I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, I really appreciate your conversational input so much.
Yeah. That's really nice. I hope they make sense. Sometimes I get to the end of my sentence and I'm like, uh-oh, I don't remember where I started.
Yeah, wasn't I saying the other day too, like, sometimes I'm making up a sentence as I say it and it just doesn't, like, it doesn't land anywhere.
I think you were saying that. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So 2 weeks in, I still would encourage people to at least try. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, figure out your motivations and figure out your backup plans, and also, like, you know, work on your emotional resilience and your, you know, detach your ego from all of your worldly successes, and you should be fine.
And if, like, getting upset about it, okay, you can say your thing.
I mean, I successfully held it in, but okay, if you'll remember. So I wanted to talk about health for a second.
Okay.
Because one of the things that has been like naysayed about doing the Uberman sleep schedule is that there are like long-term negative health effects possibly, which I'm not experiencing, and I mean, we'll see. But I kind of specifically wanted to touch on that. This maybe should be in a whole new video, I guess, but I feel like as a person with a chronic illness who consulted my doctor before doing this, I come with the point of view already that like everything you do in your life is going to have positive and negative consequences on your health. Yeah. Like medicine you take is going to have side effects. Exercise is going to be hard on your joints. You know, comfort food is going to be bad for your heart or whatever. Like all of the things that you do to like help in one area of your life is also going to harm some other area. There's no like perfect decision. I might have actually talked about this in a previous video.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, it's important to me, and I feel the same way about this sleep experiment. And I don't think that I think it's incorrect that that if something has possible negative health consequences, that you shouldn't do it. Because if that were the case, then I shouldn't have bought a house. I should never do anything stressful. I mean, that's why, because buying a house put me in a flare. And I'm just like I don't think it's I think it's kind of ableist to say that you should only do things that don't that don't like negatively impact your health, because there are people for whom normal daily activities negatively impact their health.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like I appreciate making decisions based on your health. That's totally fine if that's a thing that you value above other things. But it is not reasonable or true to say that like everyone should value their health the maximum, maximally above everything else. Yeah, that's like important to me. Anyway,
and I just wanted to end with that. There, even if you fail by not doing this forever, or not even getting to the 3-week transition point, the things you're getting out of this is that you like challenged yourself, you tried something hard, you have like a story to tell people at parties of the hard thing you tried.
that alone is enough for me.
The potential to like learn how to fall asleep faster.
Connecting with people on the internet. I mean, we're about to have an interview with a stranger. That's cool.
Yeah. So just, I think if you want to be like upset that you didn't do it, I encourage you to look more at the things you did get out of it, because it's not a problem with the Uberman sleep schedule, and it's not even a problem with you. It's just like not everything is compatible all the time, and sometimes relationships end, and sometimes that's the best thing to happen for that relationship. Yeah.
Breakups aren't failures.
Yeah. So get divorced and try the Uberman sleep schedule.
That is a YouTube ending I can get behind.